Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. But find out where in just a moment. On today's show, I'll be helping an Anglo-French couple try to find a creative space in the countryside. We uncover some rather personal details.
I thought you would fit in here comfortably.
You won't be able to wear your high heels, though.
And I'll be helping to find a home for a couple and their horse. But one of our properties falls at the first hurdle.
It looks a little small.
But then we find a real thoroughbred.
Oh my word!
That is extraordinary.
Today we're in Worcestershire, which, apart from anything else, is fantastic running country. It's got the Malvern Hills. So if you want to crack up the Worcester Beacon, that's a real lung-popping run with beautiful views over both Worcestershire and Herefordshire.
But in a way, it's a funny place because lots of people pass through it but never really explore it. And I think that's a real shame because I think Worcestershire offers huge amounts to anybody wanting to escape from suburbia. Forming part of the Midlands, Worcestershire is bordered by 5 counties, including Staffordshire to the north and Herefordshire to the west.
Despite its proximity to Birmingham, Worcestershire is primarily rural, and the landscape is formed of undulating hills and farmland stretching on either side of the River Severn, which weaves its way through the centre of the county.
One of the county's natural gems are the Malvern Hills. And although they only cover 3,000 acres, they provide a hugely diverse landscape.
At the foot of the hills lies the town of Great Malvern, which developed as a spa resort in the 19th century, playing on the healing properties of the local spring water.
From the connected industrial areas in the north to the rural scenery in the south, the diverse character of Worcestershire makes it an appealing location to escape to.
Jules, what do you think it is that makes Worcestershire so appealing?
I think if you're looking for property at a reasonable price, Worcestershire is certainly worth a look. And when you look at the average price of a detached property there, it's pretty much on a par with the national figure.
National figure, now you're putting me on the spot now, it's 260,000?
It is indeed. Yep, £260,000. But for that, what a range of architecture you have at your disposal. Everything from lovely black and white timber frame to those classic limestone cottages of the Cotswolds.
And some gorgeous market towns. You've got Pershore, Bewdley, and actually all the way across into the Cotswolds with Broadway. Yeah. Although you do pay a premium, it's about 30% over the odds.
You are going to pay a premium, and it's worth thinking about the geography of Worcestershire. It's effectively divided by the River Severn, so anything to the east of that, within striking distance of Cheltenham and Birmingham, that also is going to be quite expensive because of those commuters. So really my advice would be to go a little bit further west over towards Shropshire and Herefordshire.
Well, that's a good tip. And I had a couple that were looking to escape to the country and find a home for their four-legged friend.
But first of all, let's meet my buyers. John and Dominique have lived on the outskirts of Oxford for the past 11 years, but feel that the time is right to head for the hills and start a new chapter in their lives.
We met in Scotland over 40 years ago, and we've now been married for 39 years.
Well remembered.
And both our sons now have a 3 on the front of their age. So it is perhaps time for us to look at the next stage of our life and embrace a new project.
And living on an estate close to a city is no longer an option.
England on a sunny day, if you're in the countryside, it's the most beautiful scenery that you can imagine. You don't need to travel anywhere. It's fantastic. So it would be lovely to live in the middle of that all.
Indeed.
For John, it's an opportunity to move back to his home county.
I was born in Worcestershire, and Worcestershire has always attracted me as a county, and my family, some of my family still live there. So it's that combination really of almost going back to my roots as well as going back to much more of a rural environment.
And they're hoping to find extra space for their hobbies.
One of the things I'm looking forward to with a move would be to develop perhaps my artistic side a bit more in terms of sculptural work, particularly with metal. An outbuilding would give me a chance to perhaps look at soldering and welding.
I've always been interested in sewing, particularly with curtains, blinds, cushions. I've started doing a little bit of silver jewellery when I can see myself sort of doing a bit more from home rather than having to go to classes. If I could have a little studio to make some jewellery, that would be lovely.
So how much do they have to finance this Worcestershire move?
The budget for the move is £650,000.
John and Dominique have asked us to focus our search in the south of the county. But before we get started, I'm meeting them on Worcestershire turf to find out what it is they're after from their new home. Well, Dominique, John, welcome to Escape to the Country and to Worcestershire. Now, there's one factor that does concern me slightly, John, and that is how tall you are. Just tell us how high you come to.
6'6" on a good day.
6'6" with a good breakfast inside you. That is going to preclude many of the properties that are out there that we would ordinarily show you. Low beams are out.
Perhaps the small black and white cottage is out on this occasion.
I would think so.
Well, fortunately, we're not that keen on that sort of property anyways.
Well, tell us what you are keen on.
I like airy properties. I need light and sort of a downstairs space and a nice garden, a nice sort of space outside. Outbuildings would be wonderful. 3 bedrooms as a sort of minimum.
Yeah.
A big kitchen.
Yeah.
I like a big kitchen.
Now, just remind us of the budget. Has it changed at all?
We talked initially of 650,000, but we can stretch to 700 if everything is in there. If there's some project work needs to be done, it would need to be done within the 700,000 total figure.
Well, I think we've got 3 very interesting properties to show you, including our mystery house, which is a real classic. I can't wait for you to see that one. So without further ado, let's finish our coffees and juice and get going.
Lovely. Can't wait.
Thank you.
For a maximum budget of £700,000, John and Dominique are looking for a spacious and airy property, including 3 bedrooms, a good-sized kitchen, plenty of downstairs living space, a large garden including outbuildings to satisfy their creative aspirations, and all set in the peaceful Worcestershire countryside. We've found 3 fantastic properties to show them, and at each one I'll be testing their eye for valuation when they guess the price. And third on the list is our mystery house, which could really blow them away. Bearing in mind their specific requirements for a home and John's height, we're casting our net far and wide, starting in the east of the county in the village of Kington. And on the fringe of the village is house number 1, a period barn conversion with views across open countryside. So there we go. What do you think of that, Dominique?
Very nice. I love it. Looks very friendly and welcoming.
I mean, you're responding very nicely to this one, but what does John think?
I'm holding all my questions. Very keen, very intrigued.
Let's see what you think of the inside. Converted in the early 90s, the property has been architecturally redesigned, hopefully delivering the light and space thereafter. Okay, Dominique, there we are. Is this big enough and light enough?
It's very nice, yes. Very fresh, like the colour.
And you've got this nice sort of dining area here, a little bit of sort of sitting room around the corner there too.
Yes, it's got a good feel, definitely. Yes, I like it.
Good.
Very much so.
Very much. And Worcestershire is outside the window.
Absolutely. As much of it as you want to look at.
Classical Worcestershire.
Yes. Well, let's continue this way. So this is the dining room. Again, lovely views out
Nice
there.
little separate room.
And then this is your principal living room.
Oh, interesting.
Come on in. Now this is what I want to see.
Will I get under the bed? My brother wouldn't be able to visit.
Brilliant. Yeah, it all works. Yeah.
Oh, look at those beams here.
Yeah. So you've got this nice kind of mixture of the very contemporary look in the kitchen, and then you drift through to the older bit.
I like that. I like the mixture, definitely.
But all the wood is original from that barn? Or?
It is, yeah. Well, I thought you would fit in here comfortably.
Plenty of headroom.
Yeah.
You won't be able to wear your high heels, though.
Right, come on, let's go this way. The building is essentially one long line of rooms, all leading onto one another. There is a guest bedroom with ensuite at one end, and 3 bedrooms at the other, comprising 1 double
and a single, and both served by the family bathroom. And then there's the master.
Yeah, straight onto the garden. Again, very light.
Yeah, lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
2 aspects.
Could be slightly bigger for us because we have a huge bed.
Well, you have a choice. You know, there is the one at the far end. Maybe that's a bit bigger for you.
Yes.
That is ensuite, as indeed is this one. Nice shower room and so
Oh,
on.
yes, that's lovely. Yeah, I like the colour scheme. Very, very nice, yes.
There is one thing that we haven't discussed yet, and that is the outside space. You wanted a nice big garden and some outbuildings. We've got plenty of
Very
both.
keen to see it.
Come and have a look at these.
There is extra living space in the study, and a utility room sits off the kitchen. The grounds of the property total around 3.5 acres, with a formal lawn garden looking out over a paddock. There's also a stable block that could work as a workshop.
So let's get your thinking caps on and think about the money. You go first.
As long as you're not teasing us, I'll say 675.
675, yeah, Dominic?
That's a bit less, 650.
Well, I'm afraid you're both wrong. It's 645.
Ah.
Yeah. There's a lot on offer with this one.
Yes, a lot to think about.
Yeah.
House number 1 comes in well under budget at £645,000 and offers them 4 bedrooms, including 2 ensuite doubles, a huge kitchen breakfast room, a large garden, a stable block for possible conversion into workshops, and all with views overlooking the Worcestershire countryside.
How are we doing then?
Very well.
You wanted a view, you wanted Worcestershire, there it is.
Yes, that is a view.
I think this is a really interesting one to start with. It certainly put a smile on your face.
Well, you've set a high standard.
Good. Not quite sure what you're thinking.
Well, I'm always more cautious. I like to think things a little bit, but
Every man
lots of
needs a
good things.
cautious woman.
There you go. Never a true word spoken. Come on, let's go.
The Severn Valley Railway is one of the great heritage highlights of the area, following the meandering River Severn for 16.5 miles between Kidderminster and Bridgnorth. Opened in 1862, it was never financially successful, and by 1970, passenger and freight services had come to a grinding halt. However, a group of enthusiasts had already formed a preservation society, and by 1967 had purchased a 5-mile section of the line, an engine and 4 coaches. A charitable trust now handles fundraising, and a current share scheme has so far raised £1.5 million. Today I'm meeting Nick Rawls, General Manager at the Southern Terminus in Kidderminster, to find out more about this wonderful railway.
Hello, Nick.
Good morning.
Very nice to see you, sir.
Welcome to the Severn Valley Railway.
Is this train ready to go?
This train is going to be going very soon, so we better go on board and have a good look.
Let's not be late.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of the railway, with currently 1,300 helping out, driving trains, manning signal boxes, maintaining track and overhauling the locomotives. With a national skills shortage, the railway aims to boost the restoration expertise of their workforce to continue the preservation of the line.
How do you ensure that you've got that skill set to keep something as historic as this going?
We're piloting this year, actually, this September, a Heritage Skills Training Academy. And we're going to take on 5 young people as trainees. They'll be undertaking experience and training on the railway to complement the engineering that they're learning at the college with the heritage skills that we demand to keep going as a railway.
But of course you're then investing directly in those young men to keep the railway alive.
Yes, it's important that we invest in them year on year as well, because we're going to have probably 50 apprentices on the railway at one time.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm getting off at Bridgnorth Station over the border in Shropshire, and home of the Boiler Shop, where the restoration of the engines takes place and where new apprentices will be learning their craft. Boiler manager Duncan Ballard, who started his career as an apprentice 18 years ago, has agreed to show me around.
How important do you think these apprenticeship schemes are?
Massively. I mean, you could sit and show people books all day long. At the end of the day, you're only going to learn by being exposed to the job. You know, to actually have a feel for it, have a go, learn the hard way when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
use your own mind, you know, a bit of initiative.
But the thing I love is that you're not just resurrecting these skills, you're resurrecting these locomotives. I mean, for example, that one there, how old is it?
That one's from Dunrobin, that's 1895.
1895, so well over 100 years old.
Oh, yeah, it's a time capsule.
But you're bringing these skills together and keeping everything going.
Yeah, and we're also using the skills they were using in 1895 to preserve it.
Well, it's an absolute credit to you, and I think the apprenticeship scheme, I can only celebrate. I think it's just a fantastic idea. It says a lot about the railway and its vision. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
We wish the Academy great success in developing new talent with old skills to keep this wonderful railway chugging through the heart of the Worcestershire countryside for years to come. But time now, though, to return to our property search and catch up with our house hunters. For our second house, we're heading to the very north of the county to the village of Wolverley, right on the Worcestershire-Staffordshire border. On the outskirts of the village, just over the border, is house number 2, a very unusual extended property offering a mixture of styles and character.
Now, oddly, with this one, we're going to start kind of back to front. There is a front door, but we're going to deal with it here to start with, because I think this really gives you the story of this building. The whole thing started life back in the mid-90s as a bungalow.
Difficult to imagine.
It's impossible to imagine it now.
I'm slightly speechless at the moment. I want to remain open-minded. I'm not sure.
John?
Struggling to stay open-minded. This is quirky plus plus.
I think what we'll do is we'll start with that half there that looks like a chapel. It's built from the remains of a chapel. You'll see what I mean when we get inside.
We'll pray for insight.
House 2 is certainly not one for traditionalists, as despite having bags of space over 3 floors, they may have to see past some of its more unique styling as we head to the lower ground floor.
You see what I mean? It's the most amazing hammer beam ceiling, this, or roof.
Is that what it's
truss.
called?
Yeah, absolutely. And they've imported this from a reclaimed chapel.
This wasn't here originally. No? This was all added.
Let's look at the skirting board. Isn't that incredibly original? Never seen anything like this.
Original with quirky.
Yes.
The vocabulary's building, yeah. This is something of an annex. There's a little kind of kitchen area through there, and bedroom and so on. Let's have a look at the rest of it. So let's go upstairs.
Okay.
I think the chapel annex has caught their imagination, so let's see what they make of the living space. We're heading up to the kitchen on the ground floor.
So when you get up to the middle floor, it's the kitchen that greets you.
Good grief. That's quite an impressive kitchen.
It's a great size.
Yes, lovely size.
The beam is good, I think it separates the room. I love the number of windows.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to change quite a few bits and pieces to feel more comfortable. It's not, I don't feel feels like a nest. I like the idea of a nest.
Well, if you want a bit more cosy, have a look at the living room. I think it gets cosier through here. Come in, Dominique. Is this cosier? Come in, John.
Very nice room. Nice brick. I like the exposed brick.
Room.
It is worth you seeing this place. I mean, it offers a huge amount.
So eclectic. This is
Eclectic. No, this is good. Quirky, original, eclectic. I think we've cracked it.
I particularly like the split level. I think it's a very adventurous way of living and lets you imagine living in the room.
Well, let's have an explore. Come and have a look. I mean, it's bigger down here than it is up there, I think. You know, as garden rooms go, I mean,
This is a party room.
it really is a party room. Can you see that little gallery out there?
Yes.
That comes off of the master bedroom. So that's probably our cue to go upstairs.
Yes, please.
Yeah? Follow me.
A study, the 4th bedroom and shower room complete the ground floor. Upstairs, a spacious family bathroom with corner bath serves 2 double guest bedrooms and the master.
So we're thinking that this would be your room.
Very good size for a master bedroom.
I hoped you'd say that. Yes, it's enormous. And that balcony over there, that's the one that looks down into the kind of garden end of the main living room.
Perfect for the chaise longue, isn't it?
So is it big enough, John?
Yes.
It may be over quirky, but it's...
We can always turn it down a
It
bit.
has a je ne sais quoi.
Perfect, that's the word we were all hoping for, wasn't it? Yes. Well, I think we should go outside, talk about some land. Because we've given you a huge home, we've also got you plenty of ground to play with. Come with me.
Wow.
There is plenty of room in this property, but is the unique character too much for John and Dominique? The grounds total 3.5 acres, comprising lawn and paddock areas, and come with a large timber barn, a perfect location for a workshop.
All of it is so unusual. Let's try and make sense of it with the numbers. You've got £700,000 to spend. Go on, John.
I think there's a lot of value here, if only in the land, and I'm going to go 625.
625, Dominique?
Slightly higher. 630.
630, you're very close to each other, this, aren't you? But you're right to be, because you, sir, are dead on. Not that we're remotely competitive.
Of course not.
But yeah, £625,000. How do you feel about it now? You know the figures.
It's interesting. It's just...
It's a grower. Yeah.
It's got some exceptional rooms.
Lots to think about.
Indeed. I've changed my mind a lot since.
And raise children with good schools and good, facilities. But you feel a little bit boxed in because it is an estate at the end of the day. It's a very nice estate, but it is an estate.
But they're not the only ones we need to consider with this move.
Busby is a 17-hand French Percheron horse, and he was definitely a mad purchase of mine. At the moment, Busby is about 25 minutes away, and one of the reasons why we want to move and find a place in the country is so Busby can come live with us.
Whilst Maddie is busy with Busby, Nigel will be spending time with their other four-legged friends.
We have 2 dogs. At the moment, I take them out at the weekends, have to drive them down to Hamble, where there's a lovely sort of walking areas and big parks. So, ideal world would be something very similar, or a lovely walk and countryside that we can take them out, but just close to the house.
All that's left to find out is how much we've got to play with for this move to the Worcestershire countryside.
The budget for the move will be £550,000.
Nigel needs to be close to motorway connections for his work, and Maddie's head office is in Bristol. But they'd also like to be close to the Malvern Hills, so we're concentrating our property search with that in mind.
Welcome to the Malverns.
Thank you.
Very nice to see you here. And you don't really know this area very well, do you?
No, not at all. It's the first time we've visited here, to be honest.
So why this area? It's sort of strange that you sort of just trust us this much.
Yeah, it's looking for a sort of property, the right sort of price in an area that's still close enough to where we work, where we need to commute to. I've also got family around Bristol and Bath, which I'd like to be able to commute to. So you've got the M5 and the M4 corridor, obviously, it's areas I can work in and Maddie can work in. So that's kind of the driver for this.
Now, what's your budget?
Right, well, it's £550,000, and there's a lot of ask for that, really, for what we want, because obviously the land is very important to us. In terms of house, we're a little bit more flexible on that.
Converted barn.
Yeah, well...
That's what I'd like.
That doesn't sound very flexible at all. You definitely want a converted barn.
That's been my dream. I mean, it's not the be-all and end-all, but it's that kind of open plan
open plan
concept
space,
that I quite like the idea of.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a horse, Busby.
Yeah.
How much land is an acre a horse, isn't it?
It is, exactly. But they don't like to live by themselves. So
Nigel's face is like, oh God, another one.
Yeah, an acre upwards, really, would be ideal.
Now, you've got 2 boys, they living at home, or have they flown the nest?
They're getting close to flying the nest. We've got a 21 and a 19-year-old. Both of them do currently live at home.
I suppose what I'm getting at is how many bedrooms do you need?
Okay. Minimum of 3 bedrooms, just in case. Yeah, they do come along with us. So, yeah.
Well, we've got some lovely houses lined up, and I hope that you like them.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So follow me. Thank you.
For a budget of £550,000, Nigel and Maddie would love a barn conversion, or alternatively, a house that's open plan and light inside. They'd like a minimum of 3 bedrooms in case the boys move with them. For Maddie, it's less about the house and more about the horse, and she would like a property with at least 1 acre of land. We've lined up 3 properties currently on the market for Nigel and Maddie to view, and at each one I'll be quizzing them on the cost. Our last house, the mystery property, could please one of our buyers, but at the expense of the other. Our first property is located in the small village of Birtsmorton, not far from the borders with Herefordshire and Gloucestershire.
Nice.
Cute, yeah.
Very nice.
Now this is a house that is quite unassuming from the outside. I actually think you're going to love the inside, but what are your impressions of the exterior?
Nice.
It's cute.
Nice,
It looks a little small.
I think you should hold your judgment until we go inside.
It looks nice on the outside.
Let's look.
Okay.
Maddie doesn't need to worry. I'm confident the inside, which has been considerably extended and renovated, will impress.
Come on in. This is your sitting room.
Oh, it's cozy.
Oh, crumbs, yeah, it's nice. It's quite large, actually, isn't it?
It is large,
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a wood burning stove?
Yeah, wood burning stove. And you'll see later on that you have your own source of fuel, so that won't be a problem.
Okay.
Guess that from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised looking at the outside. Doesn't really
Yeah.
look like the inside, so.
Let's look at the kitchen. This, I think, is a really lovely space.
Wow.
Oh, crumbs, yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, like the kitchen.
Yeah.
The kitchen's very nice.
Very nice, yeah. Very spacious.
So what do you think about the sunroom?
It's nice. It's nice how it flows out from the kitchen.
It's almost like a dining room, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
Very,
we use
very-
it-
For open planning, you know, open living, which is nice because you can have guests out there, be cooking.
Well, it's very
yeah.
nice. It's all windows. It's it's very very light.
Yeah, it brings
Very
a lot of
light
light
indeed,
into the kitchen.
And also underfloor heating throughout. All these parts are
Okay.
underfloor heating. So these are the living quarters, as it were. Let's go through to the sleeping quarters.
Sounds good.
Whilst it may not be a barn conversion, the light, open-plan nature of our first property is drawing our buyers in. As well as the kitchen and sunroom, there's also a utility room with space for the white goods, and a further living room at this end of the property. All the accommodation is arranged across one level, and the 3 bedrooms are just down the hall. They're all doubles, and all of them have ensuite bathrooms. There's also a spacious study, which could be turned into a 4th bedroom, and a rather stylish family bathroom, which just leaves the master.
You've got 3 big bedrooms, and this is they use as the master bedroom. It has an ensuite.
It's a little. This is the master. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit tiny. It's surprising because the portions are so big for
On
the
the average,
kitchen.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
It's quite
this is
small.
a little bit kind of a boxy and not a huge amount of storage, although they have some.
I mean, there are, say, 2 or 3 other rooms, also of equally same size, really, but you could perhaps take your pick. of which
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use. But they all have ensuite. So
All
usually you've got
ensuite,
3
Yeah, so
bedrooms,
yeah.
all with ensuites, and a family bathroom, and a toilet. Now, I know the interiors are your bag,
Absolutely.
but the exteriors are very important for you.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to like the outside.
Looking forward to that.
And I think Busby will feel at home here too, because as well as a large wraparound garden with decked and lawn areas, a wooden bridge leads you to a coppice, and beyond that, 2 enclosed paddocks. All in all, there's 3 acres of land here, but it might involve a bit of work to turn it into a home for the horse.
So you have your own woodland.
I know.
Very nice.
It's quite nice.
What's particularly nice about it is it supplies all your wood for the log burner.
Yeah.
And then you have this very nice vegetable garden.
Yeah.
And some outbuildings. But this is where we need to talk about the access, because this is not an equestrian property. And for you to make it equestrian property, you're going to have to, well, lose that greenhouse, probably lose the other side of this sort of tack room, and build a driveway that comes down the side of the garage all the way along this property over the 2 brooks into the field.
Right. It's worth considering.
Yeah.
Well, we also have to think about the budget.
Yes.
How much do you think this is going to cost you?
I'm going to say it's up on the top of the budget, really.
I was going to say 550.
I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to say 525.
Okay, so this is on the market for 575, but the owners are quite open to negotiation, so I think you could definitely get it in your budget.
Really?
Okay. Priced at £575,000, our first house is just slightly over budget.
How's the weather? Well, It's not raining. So
Typical English.
Well, a sunny response to house number 1?
Absolutely.
Superb.
Yeah, we liked it.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
Worcestershire is home to one of the most historically important country estates in the West Midlands, Croom Court. The former home of the Earls of Coventry, it was remodelled in the 18th century by the landscape artist Capability Brown, with the palatial interiors designed by Robert Adam, both trailblazers in the world of architecture at the time. But decades of neglect under private ownership saw the building fall into disrepair, and the worst hit was the Grade 1 listed Red Wing. Today it's part of a £5 million repair project involving the entire house, which is being managed by the National Trust. I've come to meet the building's project manager, Sean Wilkes.
So tell me a bit about the Red Wing.
It was a service wing to ensure the smooth running of the court.
So this is where the servants or all the undesirables...
Exactly. So you
hidden
had this
from view.
Of course, yes. On the upper floors you would have had servants' accommodation, and on the lower floors you would have had kitchens.
And when the Trust got involved, what sort of state of repair was it in?
It was in a terrible state of repair. It was about to collapse. It had already suffered partial collapse. Some of the internal floors had collapsed. And we got here just in time. As you can see, we're standing on a fairly significant scaffolding, which was the first thing that was erected, along with a temporary roof. And I think it's fair to say the building wouldn't have stood another winter. You see, we have saved quite a lot of the original building, about 60...
So here, for example, you can see that's a new bit of oak.
Yeah.
And this is presumably an old bit.
Exactly. The bottom section was rotten, but there was enough left of the original timber to warrant saving.
As well as repair work to the inside of the Red Wing, craftsmen are making good the damage to the exterior brickwork of the building, again by mixing the old with the new. Each brick costs £80 and has been specially made so they can be cut more easily. I'm meeting bricklayer Tony Cunningham to see if I can lend a hand.
This bit that you're doing here is obviously a bit specialised.
Yes, there's a lot of damage on them, and we're replacing them with new bricks. So you need gloves because of the lime on. Yeah.
Oh, so it's lime...
It's lime mortar, yeah. It's lime putty on the arch, yeah.
Lime mortar is more flexible than cement, allowing the building to breathe and move, making it much better suited to an historic structure.
And you rub it firmly in place.
Hey presto.
Once the work is finished on the Red Wing, the builders will move on to the rest of Croom Court, and the makeover should be completed in the next few years, when the whole house will be open to the public for the first time in its history. And talking of houses, let's get back to our search with Maddie and Nigel. For our second offering, we're heading southwest over the border into Gloucestershire and to the hamlet of Kilcott.
House number 2.
Oh my word.
Wow,
That is very pretty.
it is a pretty house.
And I noticed they have a solar power on the roof.
Yes, they do. These are actually hot water pipes, so these heat the water. So on a hot day like today, you don't need to turn the immersion on.
Okay.
It's a handsome stone property. You can see that it's been extended at the end
yeah.
there about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You can see the different stone. One thing about this house is that it's not an equestrian property. No need for a long face. Because it could so easily be one, much more easily than yesterday. Because
Really?
look at this. 2 loose boxes,
Okay.
actually all opened up inside.
Wow. Okay, that's a good size. Yeah.
All right. And then, follow me. Okay, so this
Wow.
is all yours.
Really? Oh my gosh. That is such a pretty paddock. How many acres?
It's, again, the whole plot is about 3.2 acres.
Is it all fenced off?
It's all fenced off.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's a huge plot. We'll explore a bit later
Yeah,
on.
yes please.
Okay, so we've won over Maddie.
Yeah.
Just got to convince Nigel.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Let's look inside.
Good reactions to our second property, but we've got a lot to do to beat the first house. We're heading to the newer part of the house via a dining hall and study room.
So I'm going to whiz you through those rooms into this big lovely room. This is the
Yeah.
extension.
Okay.
So this was put on about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
but it gives you the big volume.
It's a good space, there's no question, and it's got good aspect windows and it's light and you can see out to the garden, so we've got some positives. It's just you've spoiled me with the first house.
I'm sorry, that's just the way I am. I'm just showering blessings on you both. You have to choose.
Yeah.
But there are lots of lovely features. I mean, you've got to think about the space here because you've got a lovely south-facing or south-west-facing sort of room.
Yeah.
Very nice, big log burner.
Light and airy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Light
It's a
and
nice room.
airy.
It is a nice room.
And you've got to think long-term, you're not going to have any costs to heat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other house had
you've got to
underfloor
think that.
heating, which is quite expensive.
Is it? Yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah.
let's see the rest of the house.
Okay.
As well as the living room, there's also a dining room and separate dining hall with wood-burning stove at the older end of the house.
You come through this smallish snug, down some steps into a smallish kitchen.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Very small kitchen.
And then through here you've got another small dining room. So my thought is that you might want to remodel this in some way. Because through here you've got a huge utility room.
Okay.
So it feels to me there's lots of small bits that could add up into a
Bigger rooms.
bigger room.
Yeah. It's going to take some thinking on how we could make it to how we like it, and
Absolutely.
yeah, depends what the price is, Alistair.
It depends what the price is, but also you've got to remember, you know, this is a beautiful plot.
Look, the outside's stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And the location you can't change. The house you can change because it's not listed, so you could build out, you could put a sunroom, you could...
It's true.
Upstairs, this property has 4 bedrooms. 3 of those are doubles, and there's a smaller single bedroom and family bathroom.
So unlike the last house, there are lots of steps up and down.
There are indeed.
Yeah.
But this
A
is
nice
a
big
much
master.
bigger master.
Yeah,
huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good size, and it's lovely. It looks out the fields and the paddock and the garden.
This is a lovely room.
Yeah.
Through here you've got a very nice ensuite.
No, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. The B word. Very good.
Beautiful, but needs redecorating.
It's whether you're the sort of people that like to do that sort of thing. You like to get architects in, knock down walls. And
Not sure.
Yeah. We're not DIY people, are we?
No, certainly not.
So,
well, these are not the sort of things you would do yourself.
no.
It's whether there's money in the budget.
Yes.
Exactly. I think
That's
that'll
the
be
key
that'll be the key.
question.
Yeah, that'll be the big question.
Well, luckily it's the question I'm going to ask you very shortly. Follow me.
Along with the paddock and outbuildings, the garden to the side and rear of the property is made up of patio areas with steps leading to a large lawn and great views of the surrounding countryside.
So I get the impression that the outside is a win and the inside a few question marks.
I want to like the
Right,
inside, I
yeah.
really do, because the outside is just so gorgeous, but
There's a lot of work. Huge amount of decoration. As you say, probably a lot of remodelling.
So how much do you think it's on the market for?
I say it's on the top of the budget, 550.
I'm going to go lower because I think they realise there's a lot of work to do in the house. So I'm going to go for 500.
Well, if you split the difference, it's on the market for 530.
Okay.
Okay.
So you'd have £20,000 to remodel,
Yeah?
which is a considerable budget for what needs to be done in the house, because it's not insurmountable.
No.
On the market for £530,000, our second property is under Nigel and Maddie's budget. It's a detached, stone-built former cottage, sitting in 3 acres of land.
So a pretty good start. And property number 2 looks quite promising.
Yeah, although I am finding, and you'll excuse the equestrian metaphor, but I'm having to plough quite a narrow furrow between horse and house for them.
Interesting to see how that one turns out, really.
What about your couple?
Well, John and Dominique, looking for their dream home in the Worcestershire countryside with £700,000. Very generous sum of money. Now, our first 2 properties were gorgeous, but clearly weren't quite hitting the mark. So for our final offering, our mystery house, we thought, well, to hell with land, let's go for house.
We're travelling south into Herefordshire and
All of it, but you do get the central third of it. There are 3 properties here sharing this driveway. You also get 2 garages up there, which we're thinking workshop space, John. It's an old oast house, built about 1910 and now much renovated, but the great thing about these vast old agrarian industrial buildings is space. We have spoilt you up to now with lots and lots of land. We have got you a very generous garden, but not acres and acres.
Okay.
What do you think of it?
Very impressive. I mean, the building looks fabulous.
Good. Well, I think now we've whetted your appetite. Let's go and have a look. Come on, then.
Great first impressions, and I think the 6 bedrooms and over 3,500 square feet of living accommodation could be just enough space for them.
Do you see what I mean about high ceilings?
This is fantastic.
And look at these doors. I don't think I've ever seen doors that high.
Don't get those off the shelf.
You don't. Let's start in here. This is the snug. But this is probably the place to start because it's the smallest reception room here.
Wow. Not bad for the smallest.
So is it living up to expectations from the outside?
It's better inside than I thought it was from the outside, and I love the outside. So wood and stone, two of my passions. Yeah.
And space.
Yeah, indeed.
Lots of space. Well, if you're enjoying this, I think you're going to love what's through here, Dominique. Come with me. Okay, Dominique.
Woo!
Yeah.
What a magnificent room.
That's the first magnificent of the week. That's good. That's good.
Can I add another one then?
Go on then.
Magnificent.
I mean, as you can see, they've combined dining, living room and kitchen.
I think that's lovely. I think it would suit us very well, wouldn't it? The way we
Yeah, the
spend our
bay
time.
into the larger window, it adds that extra dimension to the room.
I mean, this is a room that you're going to use 90% of the time, I would think. So is this one getting further onto any kind of list that might be a contender?
Yes.
For me, yes.
Yes, excellent. Thought it might. Come on, let's go up.
The Mystery House seems to be wowing them, and we've still 2 floors to go. On the first, there are 2 double bedrooms served by a family bathroom with a double-ended bath. And of course, there's the master.
This is the master.
That is incredible.
It gets better.
This is huge. This is...
Yeah. There's a dressing room in there, which is currently a study, but I would suggest probably more useful as a dressing room to you. Lovely views out there. And then you've got an ensuite in here. Got a double shower and so on.
Excellent.
Yeah?
Yep. Absolutely. The
love
space,
it.
the light, the warmth of the wood, it's very, very impressive.
Well, it's not over yet. Let's go upstairs. Come on the top floor.
There's only one more floor.
Only one more, yeah.
They're clearly blown away by the sheer scale of this property, and there's more to see on the second floor, with bedrooms 4 and 5 both doubles with ensuite next to bedroom 6.
So I guess it poses the question, what are you going to do with all these bedrooms? And we were thinking maybe this would be a nice kind of studio.
I think you're right.
the
Because you
craft.
have the light sort of in the roof there.
Yeah.
There.
Craft room or a man's room.
Craft room.
Craft room then. Yeah.
Consider yourself told, John. I mean, you have got the double garages outside.
Exactly.
Don't forget. But yeah, I mean, you've got so many choices here. That's what's nice about it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get outside into that sunshine, look at the garden, and we'll start to think about the price.
Have a poke in the garage.
Might let you have a look in the garage. A bit later on.
I think they might just have fallen for this splendidly roomy home. The question is, will the gardens be enough for them?
Last but not least, the garden and the views beyond. Now, we said at the outset we weren't going to give you acres and acres. With all this to play with, does it matter anymore?
We could cope with this size garden.
It is a lovely garden. It's well laid out and with the field at the back.
Yeah. You get the view and that's for free. But you don't get that for free. So, now what's coming next then? Dominique, it's your turn, I think.
670.
670,000, yeah, John?
I was thinking higher,
Yep.
but I want it to be lower.
All right.
So I shall say 685.
£685,000. You're quite good at this, you two, aren't you? This is on the market for 675. That's put a smile on your face.
I thought you would push it right to the top of the budget.
Well, It's comfortably underneath your £700,000 proposed maximum spend, and what a house. You know, I get the feeling it just kind of fits you.
Yes, it certainly felt very good.
It was love at first sight, I'm afraid, yes.
But, don't be afraid.
Well, that gives it away, doesn't it?
The Mystery House is under budget at £675,000 and comes up trumps with plenty of space, including 6 bedrooms, one as a possible craft room for Dominique.
Well, Dominique, John, here we are at the end of our house search. It has flown by. And we started off with up to £700,000 of your hard-earned money to spend and high hopes for a new home in the countryside. We've given you 3 very interesting properties. Question is, have we found the perfect one?
You may well have done.
Can I take a flying guess as to which one it might be?
Do that. Let's see.
The Mystery House.
I think you're right.
You
yes.
are clairvoyant.
The house itself has got so much character. The architecture is so interesting. The space in the house is fantastic.
Yeah.
The lounge in particular, well, this sort of open lounge, kitchen, diner, overlooking the garden. I can see myself living there.
So the question I must now ask you is what happens next?
Try to sort of use our head over the heart, because the heart was sort of, you know, totally overcome, and yes, but is it too large for us?
£50,000 to spend on their dream home. We've got one last property to show them, and as it's the Mystery House, we're going the extra mile and are heading further away from the Malvern Hills into the Herefordshire hamlet of Weston. With the Mystery House, we're giving Nigel what he wants, but Maddie may have to compromise, and I'm keen to see how she'll react.
Ha-ha!
It's the barn.
Nigel, this is your big moment. It's a converted barn.
The converted barn. It looks lovely.
It looks
Wow.
really nice.
It's a huge house. It's not a lot of land.
Oh.
That's the mystery. But there is so much land around here.
Yeah.
And the owners assure us that you could rent acres and acres
Really?
of
Yeah.
question land within walking distance.
Okay.
But I think your oohs and ahs might come when we get inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to prejudge, but let's have a look.
So far, so good.
So our third house is a converted L-shaped barn. One wing is double-storey, but the other takes advantage of the ceiling space to create a fantastic reception room.
I'm going to take you straight into the kapow moment.
Oh my word! It's massive.
Wow. Yeah, that is a converted barn. It's beautiful. That's extraordinary.
That's formal dining.
This is formal dining.
That is extraordinary.
Yeah.
High ceilings, skylights, which is kind of unusual in a barn conversion,
Okay.
to get more light
Get more
in.
light, yeah.
And obviously this mezzanine area up there.
Yeah. It's almost worrying it's so big.
You can see
but they have a lot of stuff and it still feels spacious.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's the word. But I'm sure we could fill it. I'm sure we could fill it.
But it's nice, you've got a study at the end there, which is sort of, you know,
Yeah.
with doors that you can shut. And also there's potential, you could have it a bedroom or another second study up the top.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Well, the beauty continues. And coming into the kitchen, after that room, it feels a little pokey.
Just a little.
But for most of us, it's massive.
Yeah,
It's a nice shaker style kitchen. Yeah.
It's a pretty substantial size. There's no doubt about that.
So this would be your sort of, I guess, your lunch and breakfast
Yeah.
room
Every day.
every day, as opposed to formal dining.
Yeah.
Can you imagine living here? Can you imagine coming down in the morning, making yourself a cup of tea, padding around?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we'd need more animals to fill the barn.
It keeps on going.
Okay.
So follow me.
As well as the double-height dining hall and the kitchen, the ground floor also features a large sitting room with wood-burning stove, and beyond that, a large office, a generous utility room, and a ground floor shower room. Upstairs there are 3 bedrooms in this property, and they're all doubles, built into the eaves and with exposed timbers. 2 of the bedrooms have ensuite bathrooms. One of those has a his and her sink and roll-top bath, and it's part of the impressive master suite.
Well, you have 3 bedrooms upstairs. This is yours.
Oh my God, look at that closet!
So it's not really a closet, it's actually a dressing room.
It is! Oh my word.
It's pretty substantial again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again.
I like to have a sofa in my bed. So I can just think about getting into bed.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you explore because there's a lot more to see in this,
Yes,
house.
please.
But I just want to pop outside so we can talk about Busby and think about budget.
Yes.
Okay.
The B word.
Although not large enough to accommodate the horse, the garden is made up of a spacious lawn with raised vegetable beds, and there's also a sheltered patio area, as well as a gravel driveway and single garage.
It is actually a lovely garden. It's not a paddock.
No, it's not a paddock, but it is beautiful.
What do you think it's on the market for?
I'm going to say, I get it wrong all the time, but I'm going to say it's the top of the budget, 550, because it's a stunning barn.
I'm going to go above that actually again.
Yeah.
575.
You say yes?
Yeah, it's probably pushing the ceiling. I'd say 575.
Well, you shouldn't, because you were right the first time. It's on the market for 550.
Really? On the mark?
So, in your budget, your dream barn could be yours, Nigel.
Yeah.
It's big. It's huge.
It is. It's
almost too big.
It's overwhelming.
If I say too big.
Priced at £550,000, our mystery house is right at the top of Nigel and Maddie's budget. It's a spacious converted barn, which is what Nigel asked for.
Barn.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
I've done quite a number of these shows, and I feel that I have the gift of guessing which house people like the best. I think you like the mystery house best. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The mystery house certainly has a lot to offer in terms of value for money. You know, incredible.
What happens next?
I think we're going to move fast on this one. I think, you know, if we don't grab the opportunity, someone else certainly will.
And maybe make an offer.
Yeah.
Because the mystery house was wonderful because it was beautifully quiet.
Oh.
I mean, I think we were there all day and there was not a car that went past.
No.
But the flip side of that is it's quite a long way from the motorways.
Yeah.
Nigel, is it daunting for you, the commute?
It would mean probably staying away from home more often during the week.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's part and parcel of the work I do.
And finally, do you think that house, the mystery house, could be a sort of, this is where I'm going to lay down my bits and bobs?
I can see us definitely there for 10 or 15 years, if not more.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Wonderful, that's a great conclusion. I hope it all goes well. I hope you sell your house. I hope you put an offer in. I hope it gets accepted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been great.
So the mystery house won it by a nose.
By a furlong. It was amazing. At the beginning of the search, it was all about Busby the horse. But as soon as Maddie saw that mystery house, poor old Busby was out to pasture.
You know, I think we saw the same thing with John and Dominique. And it wouldn't be the first...